Aries, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Leo. Now, Leo, for you, rules your fifth house. The fifth house is where we express ourselves. It's where we have a relationship with art and with creativity. And if you think about the time in life when a toddler recognizes that they're separate from their caregiver, that they're autonomous, that they can self-express. This is what the fifth house has to talk about. So what happens when we have a full moon here? There is a great deal of passion connected to a Leo full moon. You know, think of the lion, think of the size, you know, that Leo is fixed fire. So there's like a blowtorch kind of feeling about this moon. When you attach that, sew that into the way that you express yourself creatively, I would suggest that this would be a great time for you, Aries, to, I would say, celebrate if things are coming to some sort of crescendo point for you in the way that you're finding that you're expressing yourself through your creativity and through your relationships, your passionate relationships, or if things have been a bit clogged up because of Mars, Mercury, Uranus retrograde so far, I would use this moon as an exclamation point. We've got 88 days to look forward to where all of the planets are in their direct motion. We've got no retrogrades at this time. So I know that it's been a very sticky, claggy start to the year, but I suspect that there's going to be some forward movement and some real decision making coming over the next couple of months. So that's something to look forward to. I wonder, let's have a talk about Venus too. Venus has just entered Pisces. So in your unconscious realm, your magical house of spiritual connection, the planet of love and beauty and sensuality has just arrived. So have a think about that in the way that might have some sort of cooling effect to Mars in Gemini. Mars is still in Gemini, they won't be leaving until March, but there's a square happening between Venus and Mars. So this is your 12th house, this is your third house, your house of magic and your house of communication, of your village. So remember that kind of anger that has been pent up and maybe has been eased a little bit now with this forward activation from the planets. There's a bit of a menthol salve coming from Venus in Pisces. I wonder if you can separate your waking day and your dreaming state. And I wonder if there's some information or there's some sweetness that's coming through your dreamscape that can paint an extra layer perhaps over this third house that's been so jam-packed full of pressure. It's like a massive endless traffic jam in the third for you. This could be in relationship to your village, to your local surroundings. Could also be to your, if you're a magical person that has a relationship with tarot cards or with astrology, it might be to do with that kind of folk magic, the spark not coming for you. And now that everything's moving direct, there's this almost like convulsion to move ahead. So I wonder if Venus in your 12th, the house of magic, the unconscious, your past lives, if that's a language that you want to use, there's a sweetness there. So I'm going to pull some intuitive tarot because it feels to me that this one's quite, there's going to be quite emotional, I think, Aries, which is healthy and lovely and good. So another thing to mention, I guess, would be that Uranus, the planet of rebellion that's been in Taurus for quite some time now, they have just stationed direct as well. So there's that Taurian story that we've been telling for the past 12 months. For you, it's the second house, so it's your access to money. It's your your values as well. So revolutionary values, rebellious value systems. There's something about you being unconventional, perhaps, in the way that you're intending to provide for yourself and your family, or yourself and your folks that rely on you in some way. Okay, now the intuitive tarot is painting an interesting story, Aries. So this lunation, the sun and the moon are at 16 degrees apiece. So 16 degrees of Aquarius, 16 degrees of Leo. They're actually forming a T-square with Uranus again. Now we've had a couple of T-squares last year with Uranus, especially, you know, obviously around the time of lunations in Aquarius and Leo. So let's think about this. The moon is willing you to express. The moon is willing you to explode in some creative way. And it's in a really tricky relationship with the rebel in your second house. Are we coming back around to a similar story here, Aries? Is there something about the way that you wish to make a living, or your values lay in an alternative position to perhaps what is, you know, socially acceptable in society, or what's the tradition in your family, or if there's perhaps outside sources putting pressure, or you're feeling that kind of inquisition maybe from your surrounds, but your conviction is pretty straight on. You're sort of like, actually, no, this is how I express myself. This is how I provide for myself. And I wonder how that relationship is as well, the way that you express yourself and the way that you provide yourself, your core values. Yeah. It feels like pressure, but it also feels like a conversation that's been going on for some time. You know, it feels like that there's certain responsibilities that you have, that you're taking some, you know, alternative route to getting all of those needs met and to living your life that perhaps is very different to the people that have opinions around you. Yeah. In the intuitive tarot, I got some interesting cards, so we can have a look at the Hermit. We know the significations of this card. We know the necessity to separate ourselves sometimes from a dynamic. You know, especially when we're doing magical work, especially when we're involved in spirituality, we do need that time to step away and to develop our relationship with the mystical parts of life, the different messages from all the different areas. The Hermit opens the portal, you remember, and they bring that information down and they create physically something out of that inspiration. Wonder if Venus in Pisces has got something to do with this. The middle card that I have is the World card. Now this is a culmination, and it's a culmination on the fixed cross. So when I say that, I mean Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo. Very interesting that this card has come out at the square on this fixed cross, you know. The eclipses that we're going to look forward to this year, Aries, there will be another culmination process of the Taurian Scorpio condition that we've been dealing with for the last 12 months or so. The nodes, the dragon's head, the dragon's tail, are going to be shifting into Aries and Libra. So for you, this will be definitely some sort of shedding and reckoning with your core principles and your most intimate relationships as well. I wonder if this is some sort of prelude to prepare you for what's going to continue to play out this year. I have the King of Cups here too, which is a nice double down on that Venusian principle in Pisces. It's kind of like when there's squares that happen in astrology, when there's that 90-degree sort of tension, right? So Venus is at 12 degrees of Pisces, for example, and Mars is at 11 degrees of Gemini. So it's nearly exact sort of confrontation. I like that the King of Cups is here, butch, but, you know, I reckon we'll pop that binary down forevermore as we go forward. But the King of Cups is all about emotional literacy. They're someone that has patience in spades, and they sit on their throne. In some ways, you can sort of see them kind of trying to edge off. They'd much prefer to be in the water and go swimming, very Pisces. But they're in some position where they're available and able to maybe counsel or maybe sort of receive some of your emotional depth. I wonder if there's things that you've had to keep to yourself over the last, 12 months or something like that, maybe a bit longer. But what I see here is this energy might exist outside of you. There might be someone that it's high time you had a talk with, and someone that you can take this friction about your value system and about the way that you wish to be autonomous and provide for yourself, provide for your family or those that rely on you, that's unconventional and that perhaps is being met with this consistent criticism, perhaps from outside. I'm looking at this third house, so I'm sort of thinking village, local environment. But there's something kind of, you're sharpening your pencils in the 12th, I think. Another transit that hasn't happened yet, but I'll explain just a little bit, is that Saturn will be moving from Aquarius into Pisces next month, I think. And so this will be the first time in 30 years. And this Saturn in Pisces is going to be almost like there's a dissolving feeling about some of the heavy restriction perhaps that we've all been feeling over these last years. Saturn has been in Capricorn and Aquarius, Saturn rules both of those signs, and so there is a real austerity that can be felt there. Saturn in Pisces, we know that Pisces is limitless. It sort of does. Another good way to think about Pisces might be in the salt water kind of imagery. It's sort of like the erosion is what I'm getting. I'm seeing barnacles, and I'm seeing the strength perhaps of Saturn eroding a little bit with Pisces influence. And so I think that folks that are ready and prepared for this transit are going to be willing and able to sort of work with that restriction. For you, Aries, it will be your 12th house. It will be your magical house of the unconscious and the connecting magical, what am I trying to say? Dreamland. Simple as that. We'll say dreamland. And I imagine that this part of your chart has a lot to do with everything that we've discussed. There's definitely something that you're learning, and I feel like there's some kind of, you're taking a stand, and it's been a long time coming, in this last, we'll say 12 months, split the difference, has been especially sticky as far as trying to take that stand. But I think that you're doing the right thing, Aries. And I look at this fixed cross on the world, the cumulative feeling. Things may have been a little bit lonely, over time. For you to come to this realization, to come to this kind of conviction, you're staking your ground here. And Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. Prepare yourself, I would say, I think, Aries, prepare yourself to really kind of feel it. It's going to be very beautiful moon to look at. Sorry, forgot the date. It's going to be on Monday, the 6th of February at 5:30 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. So it will be just before the moon will be setting as it's the fullest. So I wonder if that can be something that you can think about. Maybe get up early the morning of Monday the 6th of February, and as the moon sets, be like, this is actually how I express myself. This is how I live. This is what I like to do. This is my mission, and I'm proud of myself. There's your sand, Aries. That's your reading. Thanks for being here with me. Always lovely to have you. As always, head to umaruby.com and book yourself a birth chart reading with me. Tips are always so welcome at buymeacoffee.com/umaruby. And I will be speaking to you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Pisces, which I cannot wait for. Until then, I love you. Be proud. Be a lion. Let it out. Bye.